The first time my mom forgot my name, she laughed. "Don't look at me like that," she said, smiling in that familiar way that used to fix everything. "I'm just tired." I laughed too, but something inside me didn't. My mother, Sarah Collins, was the strongest person I knew. She worked double shifts at the diner in our small Texas town, came home smelling like coffee and fried onions, and still managed to check my homework, wash the dishes, and sit on the edge of my bed every night. "Whatever happens," she'd whisper, brushing my hair back, "I'm always going to remember you." At the time, I didn't realize that promises like that aren't always in our control. It started with small things. She forgot where she left her keys. She burned dinner twice in 1 week. She called her neighbor Mrs. Jenkins by the wrong name, twice. We joked about it. "Mom's getting old," I teased. She flicked my forehead. "Watch it, kid." But then one afternoon, she didn't come to pick me up from school. That had never happened before, not once in 17 years. I waited on the steps while the sun dipped lower and the parking lot emptied. My friends' parents came and went. Teachers locked classroom doors. The sky turned orange. I called her. No answer. I walked home. When I opened the front door, I found her sitting at the kitchen table in the dark. The lights were off. The stove was on. And she was crying. "I couldn't remember how to turn it off," she whispered. That's when fear settled in my chest like a stone. The doctor's office smelled like sanitizer and bad news. "Early onset Alzheimer's," the neurologist said gently. The words didn't sound real. Mom squeezed my hand too tightly. "He's joking, right?" she said, forcing a laugh. But no one laughed back. At first, life went on almost normally. She still made my favorite pancakes on Sundays. She still sang loudly to old country songs in the car. But the gap started growing wider. She forgot recipes she'd made for 20 years. She got lost driving to the grocery store 2 blocks away. Once I found her standing in my bedroom, holding a photo of us from when I was 5. She looked confused. "Who's this little boy?" she asked. I swallowed hard. "That's me, Mom." She smiled politely. "Oh," she said. "He's cute." I went into the bathroom and cried where she couldn't hear me. Alzheimer's doesn't just steal memories. It steals pieces of a person. It stole her laugh first, then her independence, then her confidence. She became scared of everything. Mirrors, strangers, even her own reflection. One night she woke me up screaming, "There's a woman in my room," she cried. I ran in. She was pointing at her reflection in the closet mirror. "That's you, Mom," I said softly. She shook her head. "No, I don't know her." And that broke me in a way I didn't know was possible. I stopped going out with friends. I quit the baseball team. I got a part-time job after school to help pay for her medication. Some nights I'd sit at the kitchen table doing homework while she stared at me from across the room, trying to figure out who I was. I missed the way she used to call me champ. I missed the way she'd brag about me to everyone at the diner. Now, sometimes she called me sir. Once she asked me when her son was coming home. I couldn't answer. The hardest day wasn't when she forgot my birthday. It wasn't when she wandered out of the house and the police had to bring her back. It wasn't even when she forgot her own age. It was the day she forgot my name completely. I was helping her into bed. She looked at me carefully. "You're very kind," she said. I smiled weakly. "I try." She hesitated. "What's your name again?" The room felt smaller. "It's Daniel," I whispered. She nodded slowly, repeating it like she was studying for a test. "Daniel, Daniel." She looked up at me. "Are you family?" My throat closed. "Yes," I said. "I'm your son." She blinked. She studied my face like I was a stranger on a bus. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I don't remember having a son." I felt something inside me collapsed, but I didn't let her see it. "That's okay, Mom," I said, kissing her forehead. "I remember." As the months passed, she needed more care than I could give. The doctor said it was time for a memory care facility. I hated those words. Facility. It sounded cold, like she was something to be stored away. The day we moved her there, she clung to my arm. "Don't leave me with strangers," she pleaded. "I won't, I promise." And I meant it. I visited every single day. Sometimes she smiled when she saw me. Sometimes she asked if I worked there. Sometimes she thought I was her brother. I played along. If she believed I was someone else, I became that person. All that mattered was that she felt safe. One afternoon, I walked into her room and found her sitting quietly by the window. The sunlight made her silver hair glow. She looked peaceful. For a moment, she looked like my mom again. I sat beside her. "Hi, Mom." She turned slowly, and something in her eyes changed. Clarity. Recognition. "Danny," she whispered. I froze.
No one had called me that in years. It was her nickname for me. "Yeah," I breathed. "It's me." Her hand reached for mine. "I remember," she said, tears filling her eyes. "You used to hate broccoli." I laughed through my tears. "Still do." She smiled, the real smile, the one I thought I'd lost forever. "I'm so proud of you," she said. The words hit me harder than anything. She hadn't said that in years. "I love you," she added. And then just as quickly, the clarity faded. Her eyes clouded again. She looked confused. "Excuse me," she said politely. "Do I know you?" But it didn't matter, because for those 30 seconds, she remembered. She passed away 3 months later in her sleep, peacefully. The nurse said she didn't seem afraid. At the funeral, people told me how kind she was, how she never missed a shift, how she talked about her son constantly. I smiled and nodded. They didn't know she had stopped remembering me, but I knew something they didn't. Even when her mind forgot me, her heart didn't. Because somewhere deep beneath the illness, she found her way back to me, if only for a moment. Sometimes I still reach for my phone to call her. Sometimes I still expect to hear her voice in the kitchen singing off key. Grief doesn't end when the person does. It changes shape. It becomes quieter, heavier, but also grateful. Grateful for pancakes on Sundays, for bedtime whispers, for that one perfect moment by the window, the day my mom remembered my name. And if you're lucky enough to have your mom still remembering you, call her. Sit with her. Listen to her stories even if you've heard them 100 times. Because one day the silence will be louder than anything she ever forgot, and you'll give anything to hear her say your name just once more.